and everybody who is on site at Beth El Shaddai. So as Glenn said, um, he asked me if I could speak this week on the promises of God, specifically the promises that God has made to his people. And I thought it would be fitting to start with John 3:16, which is in essence is a summation of the gospel message, of our gospel message. All right, so I'm going to start off, I'm going to read beginning John chapter 3, verse 16. I'll go a little bit further, then I'll expound on some of the readings in just a little bit. Okay, so for God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God did not send his son into the world to condemn the world, but in order that the world might be saved through him. Whoever believes in him is not condemned, but whoever does not believe is condemned already, because he has not believed in the name of the only Son of God. So what is this essentially a promise of? It's a promise of a lot of different things, but I try to boil it down to it's a promise of God's love. It's a promise of God's love for all of us, all of his children. It's also a promise of salvation. There's a few layers into it. So God's love was not only in words alone, but also in his actions. God gave his only son, Messiah Yeshua, proving in his action his love for all of us. And we are told that whoever believes in Yeshua will not perish. And again, so God provides a way for us to partake in his promise. He sends his sinless son to stand in the place of all of the guilty and receive our penalty. And that penalty be paid in blood. And to hearken back up here, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. That is a promise that is non-discriminatory. No matter your age, your skin color, your gender, socioeconomic status, your past transgression, anything about you, if you accept Messiah Yeshua, you accept the Lord, if you believe, you're promised salvation. You're promised everlasting life. So in essence, this first promise is a promise of love, is a promise of our salvation. All right, there's another promise that I want to move on to. And this one was especially pertinent as the last couple of weeks have been pretty daunting with exams and assignments, and it's been a pretty tough semester. But thankfully, it's finally over. And I have to say, Philippians chapter 4, pretty much most of Philippians chapter 4 was a lot of what I was harking back to throughout this very arduous time. And I know that many of us here have used some of the words, some of Paul's words here to make us go through some tough times and give us that motivation that we need throughout the promises that are mentioned in here. Okay, so I will begin reading from Philippians chapter 4, verses 4. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say, rejoice. Let your reasonableness be known to everyone. The Lord is at hand. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Messiah Yeshua. So the part that I feel is pertinent here in Philippians chapter 4, in this promise, it's a promise to ease the anxieties of life. So I thought I would work this a little bit backwards and start off with what is a basic definition of anxiety? It's a feeling of worry, it's a feeling of panic, it's an unease that we have about an imminent event that has a potentially uncertain outcome. What are some of the normal anxieties that we experience? for myself, and I'm sure for any of the students, exams, and just the overall academic journey, diagnosis of illness as well as prognosis of illness, and just simply the dread about what the future holds. What's amazing about Philippians chapter 4 is we're given a step-by-step guide on how to ease our anxieties. How do we start by easing our anxieties? Where can we begin? We need to start by being thankful. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say rejoice, as we were told in the beginning of Philippians chapter 4. No matter how bleak things appear, let us not forget the blessings that we have received on a daily basis, the prayers that we've all had answered, and the salvation, to hearken back to John 3:16, that you have been promised. In essence, it's through thankfulness and prayer that our anxieties can be eased, that promise can be fulfilled. It's only through thankfulness and prayer on our part. Negative thoughts tend to produce an overall negative perspective. And our mind can kind of act like a field, and our thoughts can be the seeds that we essentially plant little by little. And if all we think about is our inadequacies, our worry, our sin, our guilt, don't be surprised if you reap a harvest of a lot of anxiety and a lot of just other culminating issues. But we're given an antidote. We're given a list of positives to think about to mitigate those feelings of anxiousness. Philippians chapter 4, verses 8. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. What you have learned and received and have heard and seen in me, practice these things, and the God of peace will be with you. So again, we're told exactly how to combat these anxieties. We're told a step-by-step guide, essentially, as to how we can combat any of these problems that we may be experiencing, any of these mental hurdles that we may be trying to go through. Think about all the good that the Lord has done for you. Think about all the blessings, the day-to-day blessings that the Lord has bestowed upon you, and be thankful for those. Be thankful for those blessings. It's easy for us when things are going bad to just focus on the bad, just think about the bad, and not even think about even that you have the blessing of waking up that morning, you have a roof over your head, food on your table. It's very easy for us to just focus on the bad. Like in my case, when I was going through my finals week, it was worrisome even thinking if I was going to be able to pass. It felt like these exams were so, basically my academic career felt like it was on the line. And I had to kind of take a couple steps backwards and think, like, what am I doing? Yes, this exam feels like it's important. And yes, it is important in terms of my academic career, absolutely. But let me start off by being thankful. Let me not forget everything that the Lord has done for me. And let me definitely not forget how the Lord has delivered me throughout all sorts of situations and all the multitude of blessings that he bestowed, not just upon me, but my family. It's truly awe-inspiring. So the last thing that I need to be doing is to have anxieties over essentially nothing. So in summation, throughout the writings of Paul and Philippians, we know that the Lord promises us peace and tranquility. Our end of the bargain is that we have to not forget, we have to be thankful, we have to pray for the things that we do need, and again, not forget to be thankful. And as Philippians 4:13 says, we need to never forget that we can do all things through him who strengthens us. And that'll be it. Thank you.
And
Shabbat shalom.
thank you so much.